A career transition isn't all of our futures. What do I mean by that? A job change is going to happen. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. It can happen involuntarily when an employer decides to lay you off. And the layoff can happen not from any fault of your own. It can happen because there's a strategic change. And it can happen in a very surprising way. There are people who have been laid off after having just been promoted. There are people who have been laid off after they have been relocated to another location, months after that having happened. There are people who have been laid off after being told very recently how indispensable they are to the company. Everybody is susceptible to being laid off involuntarily. Job change becomes pretty necessary when that happens. But it's also true that unless you intend to retire from your current employer, a job change or career transition is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And for those of us who are in roles, there may be a point where you decide, you know what, it's time for me to make a move. It is very common in this country for people to make a move after being with an employer for 2 years. Could be less, could be more. But about 3 million people every month in the US quit their jobs. So the question is, which month is going to be your month? So you must be ready. You must be ready for that layoff that comes to you as a surprise. And you must be ready because it's important to understand when it's time for you to make a move, unless you intend to retire from your current employer. What are the criteria that would cause you to make a move? Now, key question in that is, how do you feel about where you're working right now? Do you enjoy the work you do? Are you respected for the work that you do? Do you work in a healthy environment or a toxic environment? Do you see opportunity or not? Is this a career that you want to continue to be in? Or do you have a desire to do something else? Interrogate that, because how you feel about your current role should certainly play into the next job or the next career that you take. Remember, moving to another job, transitioning to another career is not an if, it's a when. So you need to be prepared and in a posture of readiness so that you can confidently move through your career and take ownership of your career path in ways that are going to be fulfilling and meaningful to you. So assess where you are right now. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about what you're doing right now? Now, I do have something to help you think that through. There's a free quiz, about 2 minutes, to take to help you understand the level of career fulfillment where you are right now, areas where you are fulfilled and where you aren't, which can then help inform what you need, what your requirements are for that next job that you're going to need to move to when, not if, that happens. So give some thought to how you feel about where you are and where you want to go. And for some people, it's not that clear cut where that next job would be or whether or not they want to continue along in the career that they're in. There are a lot of resources out there to think about that, to help you understand that about yourself and understand some frameworks for understanding that. And, many people take advantage of that. There is no shortage of YouTube videos on that topic, right? And, perhaps you've been availing yourself of those resources. And if so, good for you. It's important to realize and understand whether or not those resources are serving you. Now, I have a program that helps people with that. So in less than 60 days, We'll understand which careers make sense for you and which don't, given who you are and what your personal requirements are. And if you want to learn more about that program, click the link below and you can see if you're a good candidate for it. But whatever you do, remember, and this is the key takeaway, career transition and job change in your life, unless you're intending to retire soon, is a win, not an if. It's going to happen to us either because it's time to leave our employer for various reasons or because we get laid off. In either case, make sure that you're in a posture where you can confidently move to that next step in your career path and take ownership of your career trajectory.